Are you thinking about getting the M1 Chip MacBook Pro for music production and not sure if it's the right move to upgrade yet? Are you worried about plugins not working or your system crashing? In this video, I'm going to show you why I think you should make the change to the new M1 MacBook Pro for music production right now. Alright, hold up. Before you keep watching this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and if you want, turn the notifications on to see when I upload a video. I'm trying to upload a video for you guys every week, whether it be of me making beats, talking about and giving reviews about some of the products that I use. But if you have ideas of what you want to see me post up, let me know in the comments below. To get started, I head over to applications here, find Logic here, and I right click. For me, that's just right clicking on the side of my mouse, and this little button right here called Open Rosetta is clicked. I use that because a lot of my plugins have not yet been updated for the new MacBook M1 chip. Some of them have been already, which is great. Some of them are not, but I'm running Logic using Rosetta. So let's head into Logic and see how some of my favorite plugins work. All right, so to start off with one of my favorite plugins, one that actually is running natively on the M1 chip, but because I am using the Rosetta version, it is going to take some time to load up. But Nexus actually was ahead of the game. I think from one of their 3.38 updates, they were already ready for Silicon, the M1 chip. So this performs really well. As you can see here, I have this working, and if I were to click on a sound, I'm actually going to turn on so you can hear the previews as I click. And if you don't want any of those on, you can head over to System inside of Nexus 3 and click on No, and when you click on sounds, none of them will play. So Nexus works great. They have a lot of free expansion packs if you do purchase it. So highly recommend. I'm not sponsored by Nexus or anything. I'm just saying that it's working right now. So if you want to get into beat production with the M1 MacBook Pro, you can and should feel comfortable making that jump. Let's head over to everybody else's favorite, Omnisphere. I use Omnisphere here and there. I've sort of not even dabbled around into the sounds yet. I want to get more into it, but we'll soon. Same thing here. Works pretty well. If you want to preview sounds, you just click on this play button here. Or you can do the autoplay. So when you click on it, you have the sound play. But yeah, tons of stuff here. Omnisphere is really great for like sound design. I'm actually working on a logo and might use some of these things for that logo. Next up is Spitfire Audio Labs and their BBC Symphony Orchestra. So again, running on Rosetta, but I love their stuff here. There's a lot of free stuff. I haven't even downloaded everything yet. They got really good guitars. Yeah, works pretty well. Doesn't crash my system. I can open up a bunch. Scalar 2. I use Scalar 2 a lot in my beat production. So when I run Scalar 2 as an instrument plugin, I have no issues at all. But if I try to run Scalar 2 as the MIDI effects within the non-Rosetta version of Logic, it won't work at all. I'll click and no sounds will come out. None of my instruments will be routed through Scalar 2. So I don't know what the problem is there. If anybody else is experiencing a similar problem, let me know if you found out a solution to Scalar 2 not running on Rosetta 2, but like natively on the M1 chip. And if you fixed it, let me know in the comments below. I would love to know how you did it, or if you know where to point me to do that. Arcade works well with this plugin as well. Just to preview something in Arcade to show you that it's opening up and it's functioning. Let's open up Hooked. I know a lot of us use this to just add vocals in our stuff. I know that a lot of us use Hooked with an Arcade to add a lot of vocals, so I'm going to do that now. I'll be back for you. and so on. So that's working pretty well as well. It's looking like a safe bet, everyone. Okay, so Native Instruments just released a beta version for their products here. The only thing that's not working yet is Massive X. I guess there's a lot of computing behind that. It's still not updated yet for this M1 Chip MacBook Pro or MacBook in general. But I'm super excited that this week they released some sort of beta update and I'm using it and it's working pretty well. It does crash my system every so often, or gives me a system error that's using a lot of CPU. It shouldn't be doing that. It should not be telling me that I'm using a lot of CPU. I have a MacBook Pro 16 gigs and it certainly does not take up 16 gigs to run one instrument. So there are some challenges, especially when I use my machine. As well, it sort of lags a little bit. There's a little bit of latency, but the CPU usage is really high, which is not normal. But nonetheless, it's finally working. Native Instruments has brought their products to the M1 MacBook Pro, MacBook products. So you can make the jump pretty comfortably if you want to start producing on this new system. If you use Triton, it is a great VST to utilize because it has so many different sounds and categories of sounds. So you can use this for all kinds of music production overall. This works pretty well. I do experience some issues within Triton itself. I think the DUI meaning this sort of interface here, it's just laggy. So like sometimes, so if I try to hit play, so I'm pressing the space button pretty annoyingly, and it won't start up. I don't know why it's not playing. I guess because it thinks I'm clicked in the DUI, but if I click here now, it'll start up. So don't know what the issue is there, but this works pretty well. Doesn't use a lot of CPU. So we got SubLab for all of my trap producers here. Great 808 plugin. You can load your own in here, or you can purchase packs. They got plenty of packs in here. But they have also just a lot of good signature 808s that you can utilize. This works pretty well in both, doesn't use a lot of CPU, and opens up so I can use it in my production. That was probably the corniest bass line you've ever heard in your life. Last but not least is Arturia. So Arturia has a lot of plugins. I usually run it within Analog Lab. It's easier to just pick through all the sounds here. As you can see, this is my first time loading it up. I do not want to take a quick tour, so I'm gonna hit no. Pretty comfortable with the system. And let's go ahead and resize this window down to 50%. I don't need it that big. So they got a new interface in Analog Lab if you haven't used it yet. But yeah. Let's just go into some of my banks here. I got the Chizzy Signature Bank. And let's try some of his distorted keyboard. Yeah, love the Analog Lab. Getting carried away there, yeah. Just love playing music. Yeah, so Analog Lab's pretty great. You can explore all the instruments here. Seems like the MacBook Pro is ready for music production. Finally, a lot of these plugin creators are starting to either update or make their plugins ready for running in Rosetta at least. I say go on for it, make a beat, make the switch if you have the money for it. It's a great, it's just a great product. The MacBook really brought it, and I'm loving it for music production. It's not loud, it's not obnoxious. I can work on this and nobody's asking me what's that noise in the background, which is the fan running. This has been Alto, my producer, just telling you a little bit more about what I use, the plugins I have, but also the new MacBook Pro, and helping you make a decision on whether or not you want to make the jump.